All right. So when it comes to being grateful and what I'm most grateful for, I'd say the thing that I'm most grateful for is having just a very supportive family with two fantastic parents. They've done a great job, I think, of raising me. Just having that constant support in my life, I think that's what I'm the most grateful for. And just going into, what I'm most proud of, I'd say just, you know, again, sticking with having great parents, I think they've done a great job of making me a well-rounded person. So I think the thing that makes me the most proud of when I think about myself and what I'm most proud of is probably just how I feel like I'm well-rounded in a lot of areas and just see the world in a lot of different ways. I can do a lot of different things. And yeah, I'd say that's what I'm most proud of. When it comes to the happiest moment in my life, it actually happened a few months ago. Actually, I was sitting in class and I get a phone call that, I'm getting an internship to go to South Korea for the Olympics with NBC. And there's a few reasons for this. One, I get to get out of class for a good 20 minutes, which is always a positive in my mind. Two, it just opens a lot of doors to many different things that could happen for my career. And three, maybe the most important thing was it opens up a doorway to a once in a lifetime experience, which hopefully turns out to be just fantastic. I'm really excited and leaving really soon, so just very excited for that. The hardest moment in my life would probably be, I haven't. I'm very fortunate in that I haven't had to deal with many hardship, but I'd say maybe around I guess that middle school, early high school days, because, a lot of things are changing, friend groups are changing. Had some issues with my best friends who I'm still best friends with today. But, I think how you get through that is just by putting myself out there, doing a lot of different things. And I think it just, helped me become a much better person overall. And I'd say, yeah, it was a hard moment in my life, but I mean, I just look back and all my memories really with fondness, I think. And speaking of fondness, I mean, let's just talk about my childhood. How would I describe myself as a child? Free spirit, uh, definitely in my own little world. I remember after school every single day, we had this crabapple tree in my front yard, and basically every single day after school, I go home, I throw my book bag in the house, and I go outside with a baseball bat. I just pick up all the crab apples off the ground, and I just start hitting them across the street, pretending I was, a slugger on the World Series trying to hit home runs. And I'd say, escapism was probably a big part of my childhood. Me and my buddy, we'd always, pretend like we were, in Game 7 of the NBA Finals when we were shooting hoops in the front yard, in the driveway, or we're playing pitcher catcher, pretend like we're in the major leagues. I mean, just that type of stuff it just defined my childhood, I would think. And there's a lot of fun memories there. In terms of the person who's been the kindest to me, it's got to be a tie between my parents, I guess. Like I said before, I mean, it can't be measured how great they've been as an influence on me and how much they've supported me throughout my life. And yeah, I'd say they've been the most kind to me overall. Maybe some tough love here and there, but it's always unconditional love, no matter what. If I could honor one person in my life, this is a tough one because I don't really think you can truly honor a person because that's assuming that that person is not flawed. Um, so, I mean, if there's anyone I guess I could want to honor, I guess, but would be, my parents because they've just done a lot to support me. But if we're going to talk about someone maybe living or dead, maybe someone like an Abraham Lincoln, maybe just because it'd be interesting to ask that person, what it was like back in his time. We always envision him as this great president and stuff for his time, and I think it would just be more interesting than anything. Because if I could go back and maybe ask him a few questions just to see, what life was like back then, and just to pick his brain a little bit, I think that would be pretty interesting. Um, and just sticking with my family, my family, I guess it's pretty, you're run of the mill family, I guess, comparatively. Good mom and dad. I got little sisters in high school right now, and we all get along. I think one of the best things about it is we all support each other, and it's just we always make sure to have a really good family dynamic together, even though when we're all off doing our own different thing. We're always a tight knit little group. My three favorite social or recreational activities. This has got to be pretty easy. I love playing any type of sport, especially basketball. Just love staying active and, just competing, staying competitive. I don't get to play organized sports like I used to in high school anymore, but, just keep my competitiveness flowing and just playing sports that I've always grown up playing. It's always a fun activity. I'd say, going to the movies, just watching great movies. I'm a lover of movies, and just seeing great films in the theater. I don't think there's anything like it, personally. I mean, getting a ticket for a great movie it's always a fun experience, and just especially when you can go with some friends and just share a great time together. That's always a fun experience. And then third, I'd say just, hanging back and chilling, playing cards or something like that is probably another thing. And, it's mostly just the social aspect of it, just being with your friends and just, conversing and just having a really good time, I think is, the biggest part of that, I'd say. In terms of the riskiest thing I've ever done, well, speaking of friendship, this is first grade, I'd say, if I remember this correctly. I got so jealous with my best friend who was, kicking my butt in this game in class. Actually went up to him, gave him a little punch in the face. It was pretty risky because it could have got me in huge trouble with the school, which it kind of did. But it could have ruined a really great friendship. And luckily, I mean, we were just dumb kids, so it really didn't, matter at all. I'd say that was a pretty risky situation. In terms of an unforgettable experience, I'd say when I was 5 years old, I'll never forget this. We went to Disney World in Florida for the first time, and my dad convinced me to go on Space Mountain, the roller coaster, and it immediately scarred me for life for roller coasters for a good 7 to 8 years, where I would not step foot on a roller coaster at all. It was a pretty bad experience there, but it's just one of those things you look back at and just laugh at. Especially now, I'm just like a roller coaster junkie right now. And what are the top 5 things I want to do before I'm 30? Well, I'm a big proponent of, just traveling as much as I can, because at some point I'm going to have to settle down eventually. And I just want to have as much, experience as I can before that. So some of the things I want to do before I'm 30 is, first off, I mean, I went on a lot of road trips as a kid on family vacations, but because I was, just a little kid, I never really appreciated those. So I think doing that one more time would be, just road tripping across the country and seeing different things that this country has to offer would be, just great, I think, to do one more time. Vegas, because why not? Even though I'm going off to South Korea for the Olympics this year, I'd like to go, just vacation to another country, I'd say, and just, experience, different cultures and stuff. I think, we don't really get many opportunities to do that. And doing that when I'm young would, be a perfect time, I feel like. Going to Hawaii, I think, would be, on a nice tropical vacation would be fun. I've never been there before. My parents went there once and they said it's phenomenal. So I'd love to do that when I'm, young and got really little responsibilities to worry about. And, just kind of feeding the last thing, just kind of feeding to my sports junkie side. I'd love to go to maybe, a big sporting event like a Game 7 of an NBA Finals or a Super Bowl, something like that, and just, really, help out with my, sport addiction basically there. What is something that I have done that I believe no one else has done? I'd say when I was in high school, my junior year of high school, I went to the state championships for three-point shooting and basketball, which, I mean, it's something I was really proud of for a while. Now looking back on it, it's really something that maybe wasn't that important, but I think it's still something that's pretty cool to look back on and say, I did something like that. Not many people get to say that they could do that. So actually was playing in the, Civic Center in Peoria for that. That was really cool. Messed up my shot and made me lose, but, it's whatever. If I could have lunch with anyone living or dead, who would it be? Why not Elvis Presley? Because why not? What books have shaped or influenced my life? I have a lot of just sports encyclopedia books at home that I would always read as a kid, and it just really fueled my passion for sports and just really influenced the way I think about sports, because I just love, reading about the history of different sports like basketball, football, some of my favorites right there. Just love reading about those, and really maybe you just want to go out there and do something with those. When it comes to Bradley University, what made me end up deciding to come to Bradley, I'd say, was probably the sports communication program and the fact that it was a smaller school, which is what I was most comfortable with. With the sports communication program, there are just a lot of opportunities, like, getting to work in Peoria where you have the Chiefs, you got some of the other sports teams going around here. You got the Olympics internship, which I'm lucky enough to have, and I'm really grateful for that. As well as, something like the Hollywood semester, having the opportunity to maybe do something like that. Those are just a lot of big opportunities that a lot of universities didn't offer. So that was a really big reason why I ended up coming here. And the three best courses I've taken here, the best course I've taken actually has nothing to do with sports, is film appreciation, which, I mean, there's nothing better than just for your class, you're basically just asked to watch a movie once a week for an entire semester, and that's basically all we did. So I don't really know what other two I would put in there, but I mean, that's definitely number one for me. The three worst class had to do with all of my science classes. What was it? Geology was terrible. I almost fell asleep in every class there, if I'm being honest. Astronomy, which I just took this past semester, I don't recommend that at all. It was just bad. And then I think I took a chemistry class that, it wasn't a terrible class, but just wasn't very interesting for me. So I'd say those are the three, worst classes I've taken so far here at Bradley. And in terms of my career path, I'm still really not really sure yet, but hopefully with, a bunch of getting some internships, hopefully that can open up some doorways to maybe something that I can say that maybe I like this, maybe I don't like this, and just really whittle down my options. Right now I work for the Bradley basketball team as a manager. So hopefully I can get some connections from, some of the coaching staff there that have been said in the past that they're willing to help me out with pretty much anything regarding connections there. Maybe I can get a graduate assistant role at another university or something like that, and maybe open up a doorway there and see what I can get into in that industry. But there's a lot of options right now. Really, for me, it's about, doing something that I love, and that's really staying connected to sports and doing something there. And if I was at a candidate selection interview and I was asked what's the biggest challenge that I've had to overcome in my life so far, I'd say it's probably overcoming, maybe some of my, tendency to not really be a fan of public speaking or being out in a social setting, just being uncomfortable in those type of settings, because it's really a social world. It's about making connections in today's world. And I really had to put myself out there as a kid because I just wasn't comfortable in those situations as a kid. Really, I was just off my own little world, and I really had to learn and teach myself how to, put myself out there. I think overcoming that's done a great job of benefiting me and becoming who I am today, and where I'm hopefully going as a person, I think.